Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. And once again, the gang is all here this week. Welcome back, Damon Williams. You've been out on the road in them streets. How's it going?
It's going great. I was on the high seas last Tuesday. Had a great time. Had shows with the Isley Brothers and Babyface before jumping ship in Aruba and coming home to catch the Isley Brothers and the OJs. And a salute to Tom Joyner.
Nice. And how you doing, Cameron Riley?
Doing very well. Nice to see you again, Damon. How's it going, Sybil?
It's all good, guys. How are things in Chicago? Are you guys? The weather's not like it has been. It's cooled off considerably, right?
Yeah, it's perfect over here.
It's
Oh,
beautiful.
nice. So, are you out and about? Are you guys hitting the streets? Are you biking and running and doing all that stuff that normal people can do in the summertime when it's not three digits?
Today was a bit of a rest day for me. Spent the day inside. We're gearing up for a move, so I've just
Ah,
been helping out around the house a little bit.
got it. Got it. They need all they need all hands on deck in a case like that, right?
Yeah, somebody got to lift that heavy marble table.
Yeah.
You haven't forgotten about Grandma's table, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of laying for it in case they say they try to get rid of it.
Okay, okay. Absolutely. And Damon, have you should I ask, have you been out on the water?
Nope. And it's time to go to the vineyard. I leave Monday, so I won't be doing much boating this summer. We probably will charter a boat while we're over there. We were supposed to go out on some friends' boat. We were supposed to go out yesterday. No, Sunday. What's
Uh,
today? Day Tuesday. Sunday. All right. We were supposed to go out Sunday, but the boat owner got into a argument with his wife, and that shut everything down. So
oh,
yeah,
oh,
I
okay.
got the text like, yeah, we're not going, man. But okay,
Okay. All right. Let's just leave it right there, huh?
left it there.
Sometimes as we get older, we just understand some things are just better left unsaid and just say,
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
that's also why you need your own damn boat. Get me all ready to boat up and get my little boat shoes and my snacks and my
did
beverages.
did you have your
Eh,
jaunty little cap too?
No, because I'm not captaining. So when I'm a passenger, I leave the cap at the house.
Okay.
And then I was gonna go bike ride today, but I got a late start. So then I was like, "Oh, it's Tuesday. I cannot
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'll be on the lakefront and telling y'all, hey, and then bye." So
Right. Right.
I'm here
Right.
for the
Right.
team.
Well, I'm glad you are. I'm going to say that you've been missed, but Cameron and I have carried forth, and now I'm glad that all of us are back together. Also, very glad that we have a very special guest coming up in the "What's Really Going On" segment. One of my favorite people, and we will talk about this as we are still in the midst of the minority health. Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. So, great opportunity to talk to Dr. Altha Stewart, and we will do that. All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our newsletter that we produce Monday through Friday. If you have not subscribed, it's absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Have a lot of great stories in there, and especially as they pertain to the African American community. Not only the news stories, but we also have a HBCU corner. We have an opportunity for you to look at what happened in our little known Black History facts. We've got a health and wellness, health and fitness, Black and Fit with Cherie White, giving us a lot of great stuff there as we are all endeavoring to get, if not to stay healthy. And then we give you your birthday shout outs and things like that. And we also have our daily inspiration. So it is well worth a look if you have not. And as I mentioned, it is absolutely free. It makes for a great gift for those who are celebrating birthdays coming up. So, but that's not what I want for my birthday. I have the newsletter. So thank you very much. Um, So, Khameron, let's talk about your story. And this week marks a special anniversary in journalism and the particular effort to expose health disparities experienced by Black people in the 1930s.
Yeah, this week marks the 50th anniversary of the number one reason why all Black people didn't want to get the vaccine. It marks the anniversary of Gene Heller, a reporter of the Associated Press and investigative team, uh, who exposed the tragic, ghastly injustice that was the Tuskegee study 50 years ago on July 25th of 1972. 399, the study involved 600 Black men in Tuskegee, 399 with syphilis, 201 who did not have the disease. The researchers told them that they were being treated with bad blood. It's kind of like a local term to describe a bunch of different ailments. And the study was supposed to observe how syphilis infects the body.
Mm-hmm.
When penicillin,
It might be some young people. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease.
the clap, yes.
We had sound effects. I'm sorry.
And nothing to applaud for.
Right.
Obviously,
Not
but,
in this case, no.
yeah.
It sounded like you got the
like you're in a whole different
like you're in the
place.
process of getting it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
So penicillin became available in 1943, which was the treatment of choice for syphilis, but it was not offered to these 399 black men who were subjected to just this degradation of the body, mind, and soul. And in 1972, when the study was exposed, the panel that observed the study concluded that it was ethically unjustified, meaning that the results were meager compared to the risks the human subjects were exposed to. They did not conclude that the study was horrific, horrendous, racist, and just a total, just a total degradation of Black bodies.
Men and women affected by this, obviously.
Yes, whole entire families of those involved. Later on, the United States government tried to make amends to provide free medical care to survivors of the study. To this day, the last study participant died in 2004, and the last widow receiving medical benefits died in 2009. Bill Clinton, y'all boy, gave the survivors and their families and children a settlement of $10 million. Bill Clinton was quoted calling the study, quote, shameful. And so after this study, I mean, Black people's relationship with the health system has never been the same. But what's more important now is research. Earlier, a couple months ago, I had wrote an article about a new study discussing the top 10 cities for upwardly mobile Black women. Mm-hmm. And that study would not have been done. I mean, all that data was out there, but studies like that and the creation of the Morehouse Institute for Black Male Studies, all of this research needs to be done so we can, chart where we've been going and chart our trajectory. And these studies need to be done for us and by us. And I believe that after this, a lot of Black people out there said, you know what, okay, I'm going to change the healthcare system. And other people have lost trust in the system that has yet to be repaired. But one thing does remain, and is that don't get syphilis.
Well, to be careful. Yeah, safe sex is the best sex.
Yeah, it's
I'm just saying, if you want to live a long, healthy life, get tested. And in the meantime, wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Right.
That's right. Absolutely. So Cameron, you mentioned the reason why a lot of people don't like to get involved in testing, trials, medical trials, and things like that. And the most recent example is our look at the coronavirus vaccine and how people said, we know what happened 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago
Yeah,
with the Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
still in living memory of
Yeah,
a lot of people.
yeah. And or those who saw the movie.
Oh man,
It's amazing how many people still reference the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, and they have nothing to go upon except for the movie Miss Evers' Boys. And
hmm
so, and that was I believe it was like an HBO movie or something like that.
yeah,
That was, but still, even though you don't have any personal connection to it, more likely than not, people are pointing to that, even to the point where we don't know what's in it. We don't know if they're giving us the real vaccine and giving white folks the not, the fake stuff, or whatever it is they're saying. But it's still, that was in the back of a lot of people's minds.
yeah, and that's how
Yeah.
pervasive this trauma is. Go ahead, David.
No, go ahead, brother.
So I was going to say that that's how pervasive this trauma is among Black folks. I mean, those of us in my age bracket who are a couple generations removed from Jim Crow are still harbor certain beliefs of how to act and how not to act around white folks, or in predominantly white spaces. So I don't blame anybody, really. Uh, at the end of the day, it's a personal choice, but the need for research, especially with regards to Black people, has never been more important today.
And especially because, and I know this as the daughter of a breast cancer patient, our genetic makeup is much different, and so the trials that they want to put us in will give them a better idea of our genetic makeup and how drugs can affect us differently than they do for others, particularly those of the white persuasion. So, good job. And this was 50 years, and not 50 years from the study, but 50 years where, as you said, the curtain was pulled back on the injustices of the study and how people suffered years and decades before as a result of this horrific decision to experiment on Black folks and not to help them, but to use them. And we have other examples, and we can go on and on with that.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about my sister mayor in St. Louis, Tashara Jones. She has signed a program into law using federal pandemic funds in order to help women who cannot get abortions in the state of Missouri, but
Yeah.
enables them to go outside of the state and use the money for like transportation or childcare for their children as they make that journey to another state in order to have this service provided to them. And so, just as soon as the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade, the St. Louis mayor, Tashara Jones, signed a bill last week that will give federal pandemic relief to organizations offering things like, as I said, transportation, childcare, and other assistance to the women seeking abortions. This is a part of Board Bill 61, which created a reproductive equity fund of $1 million to support local providers offering postpartum support, lactation help, doula assistance, and access to abortion through logistical support. The logistical support would be transportation and housing, hotels, or whatever, as a part of that. And also a part of this, to use some of this money for pandemic funding, COVID $1.6 million to extend access to COVID-19 testing and vaccine programs. Well, this set about a whole political dialogue, actually more of a monologue on both sides. The Democratic mayor of St. Louis up against the Republican Attorney General of the state of Missouri, who, by the way, is also running for the United States Senate.
Oh,
His name is Eric Schmidt, and he's filed a lawsuit to block the bill, saying that it clearly violates Missouri state law. Missouri was one of the immediate states that began the lockdown on abortions the day that the Supreme Court decision came down overturning Roe versus Wade. They are one of the states that has exceptions to providing the abortion, such as rape or incest or the health of the mother. But as soon as this came down, and we're talking a month ago, they went into action, cutting off everything as far as abortion services were concerned. There still is a Planned Parenthood clinic in existence in St. Louis. But the concern now is that if the attorney general does file suit and perhaps stop this, what will happen? And the assistant mayor said, that's okay. We'll just start funding, doing public funding and doing what we can, working with Planned Parenthood, working with other individuals and organizations so that we can raise this money so that we can support the women in our community who need our help when the state has told them that their lives don't matter and their choices don't matter.
Well, I just hope that it's used properly, because it's definitely needed for women in dire straits, because St. Louis is right by Illinois, and Illinois is where Chicago is, and it's going to be at least a couple of women saying, "I'm about to get a free trip to Chicago."
Right?
They're not even pregnant. They just try to get that Amtrak ticket and come kick it on Michigan Avenue. So let's just hope that it's used properly. But kudos to the mayor of St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis has some pretty dynamic women coming out of there. Women such as the mayor of St. Louis, as well as Congresswoman Cori Bush, and who is now going into, I believe, her second term in the United States Congress. And good job on them. I really love the dynamism of women like that, and hope that they will continue the good fight. And we're also going to talk about St. Louis in a little bit, because they've had some weather related issues. So. This is from our COVID section. Every day in the What You Need to Know newsletter, we do have something involving medicine and health, and it's COVID related, which we have been doing every day for the past 2.5 years. And this is regarding our children and the results of the educational challenges they've had as a result of being on lockdown, being in quarantine. And this is out of the state of Georgia. Test scores for students there recovered some in the 2021-22 school year from their pandemic plunge, but remained significantly below pre-pandemic levels. And this is something to consider, and something for us to look at around the country, how our children were affected by this and how we can get them back on track. Certainly, we've all seen it, if not in our own homes and families, we've seen it through our friends and family, and how this is something that many people fear. If our kids get back on track, it will still be many years before this is going to be possible.
Yeah, the research is still out about how thoroughly people who were enrolled in school, even adult learners, Sybil, like even like adult students who were trying to get their degrees. I mean, they were drastically affected, and robbing students of that social experience. And the pandemic did not do very well to accommodate diverse learning styles.
Right. Now, Khameron, you work through the University of Illinois at Chicago campus. Do you see any of this and I'm not sure how direct your experience is or your contact is, but are you seeing it on your campus or talking with people who are?
Yeah, some people in the more hands-on majors like architecture, artistry, design, they really want to be back in school. People who do more labs, like in the sciences, physics, and chemical engineering, definitely want to be back in school. If nothing else, to make the most of their tuition dollars. People who work in the social sciences could care less about being in school, because all they have to do is just read and write papers. And of course, everyone else is like missing the social climate of it as well. there were a lot of international students uh, who couldn't go back home
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, who haven't been home in a couple of years to see their families, and that takes a toll on one's mental health too.
Sure.
So it affected folks in a variety of ways, and still is to this day, from the preschool, elementary school level all the way up.
I'm glad you mentioned mental health because now it's time for us to move on to what's really going on. And our guest today is, as I mentioned, one of my favorite people, Dr. Altha Stewart. I call her our resident psychiatrist here. Dr. Stewart was the first African American to serve as president of the American Psychiatric Association. And let us welcome the woman who is now, I believe, the senior associate dean for community health engagement at the University of Tennessee. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm good, Sybil. Thanks. How are you?
I'm even better now. It's great to see and hear you. As I mentioned, you are one of my favorite people, and I just love your forthrightness and also your concern for our community and helping us get our heads right.
Yeah.
I'd like you to meet Khameron Riley up there and Damon Williams. And guys, I'd like you to meet Dr. Altha Stewart. And is it appropriate to say Happy Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, Doc?
I think it's always appropriate to say happy and mental health in the same sentence.
Okay. All
I
right.
think that's always a good thing because so often it does not happen.
Right. Exactly right. So, Doctor, I'm just going to say that I cannot speak for Damon or Khameron, but for myself, this is an important month with the discussion we should be having every day, as you mentioned. In communicating with you earlier, I did invite you on because I wanted you to share with us the importance of talking about minority mental health awareness, not only during 1 month, but every day. And this is also a part of our initiative to check in and check up on our health. And we want to continue to bring awareness to the unique struggles that our people face.
Well, that's a lot, but let me take
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And you're on the clock, by the
Yeah,
way.
and let me just try to put it into some reasonable chunks that I can take one at a time. First, let me say thank you again, Sybil. You are always right there at the front of the line, helping to put this out there in the public view. Having these conversations in this kind of a format really begins to help people understand how important it is, but also it works on the destigmatizing of the subject,
Mhm.
which is such a big problem still in our community. I love the conversation y'all were just having, particularly the historical impact of what we know about the Tuskegee experiments, and there is a historical component around minority mental health. The full name of the month that we are honoring now is the B.B. Moore Campbell
Right.
National Minority Mental Health Month, a federally legislated and designated issue for us that was really a hard fought battle by BB to get this kind of recognition. You know, I was honored to have met her during the time that she was in full advocacy mode as a
Mhm.
mental health mom. She was part of a group actually called the NAMI Mommies,
Yes.
Black women who went to the mat on behalf of their children who were growing up with mental illness and were not being treated fairly, much like many in the Black community with mental illness are being treated. And so I have a particularly special feeling about this month, and I you're right. I think we should honor mental health and celebrate it and promote it and destigmatize it 365 days a year and 366 in a leap year. But because this is July and because this has that designation, there are two or three things I would like to say. One is it is so important that people recognize it is okay to say you are not okay. And particularly during this period that we are in coming out of the first wave of the pandemic, where as I think it was you, Khameron, who said how many people are impacted, who are learners, whether they were young people or adult learners. This has made a psychological impression on all of us. Doesn't matter if you had a pre-existing illness pre-pandemic. As a result of the lockdowns, the shutouts, the loss of jobs, the shifting schedules, the cramming of people together because of circumstances, the mixed messages and confusing things we were hearing about the actual virus and what it meant, the whole issue around misinformation, particularly in the Black community. If you get the test, you'll get the virus, was a big one at the beginning. Now that we're in the vaccination phase, if you take the vaccine, you'll get the virus, and so why bother? Or it's been around for so long now, I'm not going to get it, and if I do, I won't get sick. They said, Dr. Fauci said you won't get sick because we got this herd immunity thing. And the bits and pieces that people are latching on to are in part related to some of the stuff y'all talked about earlier. I can't trust, as a Black person, I'm looking at people who every day say, I can't trust you as part of the health system because look at what y'all did in Tuskegee. Look at what y'all did to Henrietta Lacks. Look at what I've read Harriet Washington's book on the history of medicine and racism in medicine. So why should I trust you? My full-time job is helping people to sort out the reality and facts around this virus. And it's the same work I do in mental health. The reality around mental illness is a brain disorder, much like heart disease or any other organ of our body that is not functioning well, for which we have major effective treatments that people are in many respects unwilling to use, take, or accept because of what they think is going on. These are not character flaws, failings. This is not a loss of faith and the devil's work. It really is a disorder that can be treated, whether it's the depression, the psychotic disorders, the anxiety disorders, the ADHD, the PTSD. We have pretty effective treatments. I can tell you as a psychiatrist for over 2, 3, maybe 4 decades, that we've got pretty effective treatments for all of the major mental illnesses. But if I can't get my community to understand what the diagnosis means and what the treatment for that particular illness can do to improve quality of life, I feel like my mama worked to put me through medical school and I'm not living up to her dream.
So, Doctor, you let me stop here because this whole discussion that you and I started about a month ago came as a result of Khameron writing the story and noting B.B. Moore Campbell's action in making this this month, this National Month of Awareness. And so, Khameron, is this making sense to you?
Yeah, my mom read 72 Hour Hold, and her life.
That was one of her was it one of her last books? Yeah,
one of her last ones.
Yeah, and so a lot of us, Dr. Stewart, are at the point now where we have addressed the elephant in the room. We are talking about it publicly among our family, for better or for worse. And now we're at this sort of rock in a hard place where, how do you hold loved ones accountable for their behavioral changes, knowing that they're sick and they can't be held fully accountable? Can you provide some insights and some wisdom? And then I'll give you a copay later on.
Because you are on Sybil's show, no copay required.
Okay.
Right. That's the first thing. Sybil has carte blanche to get me on her show and to get me to help people answer those kinds of questions in perpetuity. Okay. See, Sybil, I still remember some of my big A words.
Okay.
From back in the day.
And they're back, by the way, Doc.
I've been begging you to do that for a while.
Yes, you have.
Thank
yes,
you very much.
That's right.
But seriously, Khameron, I think we do 2 things. First, we acknowledge that it is a marathon and not a sprint. The first half dozen times that we say to a loved one, we really got to take care of this. There's really a problem. We really need to focus some time on this. They're going to blow us off. They're going to say, you don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with me. And I resent the fact that you think I'm crazy. And
Mhm.
Yeah,
we have to have that resilience of spirit and body and mind to say, I know that's not the person I need to be talking to. That's the person who is reflected in their mental illness. And I'm not going to be put off by that. I'm not going to allow that to deter me. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to retreat, regroup, relax, relate, release, as a friend of mine reminds me from time to time. And I'm going to keep going back and saying the kinds of things. Part of what happens, as I'm told by people with mental illness whose families have tried to intervene, is that they don't believe us in terms of that we're really trying to help. We want to control them. We want to tell them what to do. We want to tell them what's best for them because obviously they don't know. And they have to have this defensiveness to remain as best in control of themselves and their mind as they can. At times, it is frustrating, I know. I work with families all the time who bring that question to me. So the first thing is, we got to be prepared for the marathon. The second thing is, we educate ourselves so that each time we come back to them, we're bringing something a little different. Well, you know, the National Alliance on Mental Illness says, or I read this, or here's a little infographic that really made me think, I wonder if this would help my family member that I love and want to see as well as they can and functioning as best they can, and without all the grief that comes with untreated, undiagnosed mental illness. And you do that in the context of, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I care about you. I can see you're not handling things well. I can see that you're in some kind of distress. Whatever your relationship with that loved one is, leverage that. And I say that with the full knowledge that in saying leverage it, I'm asking you to be a bit manipulative, have a little bit of a scheme in mind, and to, at the heart of that, express it in a way that shows what I'm really doing is expressing my love for you. That's a big ask, I know, but those are the two things that come to mind when people ask me that question. And no copay required.
And Damon, we just have a couple of minutes. Do you have something you want to add to this?
Well, I think it's important to stress, especially when it comes to men with mental health issues, that our society expects men to suck it up, to man up, and it's okay to be vulnerable and accept help. And it's also okay for us to be patient and understand that they're going through a crisis and let them deal with it in a timely fashion. Because, like I said, anytime a man is having some type of issue, you know, it's all man up, you know, life is tough, you know, get over it, get over yourself. And so we got to give men a break when it comes to that, but also women who are all expected to be superheroes in our households and our community. You know, we expect them to function at a high level and take care of themselves. So we got to have some compassion for that as well.
Yeah. Well, if I can just say two things, Sybil, in the area of books, because I know you love a good book. In addition to BB's book, 72-Hour Hold, she wrote a children's book, Sometimes My Mommy Gets Angry.
Yeah.
A good
This was
friend,
for her grandchildren.
This was about, for her grandchildren. For her child, actually, for people with mental illness who had children.
Right.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. But to Damon's point, a good friend, John Head, wrote a book about men with depression that I would recommend to anybody to read. And I can't remember the title offhand, but I believe it had something to do with overcoming the shadow, or it was a reference to his working through his own depression. And he spoke directly to what you mentioned, Damon, that we put a lot on men when they do have, particularly depression, when they do have a mental illness. We put a lot on them in terms of expectations for what they should do, as opposed to allowing them to express what they need in the same way we would anyone else. And then finally, for women, Black women especially, there's a great book, Willow Weep for Me. And I am blocking, it's a beautiful name of the author, but I am blocking on it. But I am certain the title is Willow Weep for Me. So Sybil, books for you.
And then there's another book that may not have accurate facts, but it's called Men Cry in the Dark by Michael Baisden. But he's so crazy. He's so crazy. I don't know if that book is factual, but it's a great title.
It is a great title. I don't think it has the same mental health reference, but but yeah. And reading about anything that has to do with demystifying and destigmatizing mental illness is high on my list of to-do.
Doc, we have come to the end of this segment. I want to thank you so much. And please, 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 I know how busy you are. I know that you do have your relax and unwind time, but just know that if ever you want to get something out, we would love to have you again to talk about this. I don't want to just do it a couple of times a year because you are so invaluable in terms of not only the information you give it, but the way in which you give it to us. And so I really appreciate that. And I wish you nothing but happy times and enjoy your soon to be relaxation time and vacation.
Thank you very much. Great to meet you all and enjoy. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Altha Stewart. And you can follow her on Twitter, I know, and oftentimes she gives us little pearls there as well. So thanks so much, Dr. Stewart. And guys, let us move on as we talk about trending topics. And let's start with you, Damon. You have upcoming dates. And of course, I know that you have like a 3-week date in Martha's Vineyard, but do you have anything coming up this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend I'm actually in Ann Arbor at the Cottage Inn's Cellar Club. 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, 4 shows, and then Sunday I'm taking the night off, but I'm going to see Jonathan Butler and Norman Brown, who I've been wanting to see forever. I've never seen them live, and then I'm on the road. I hit Martha's Vineyard on the 1st. I go to Wilmington, Delaware that weekend, the 6th, and then I'm back to Martha's Vineyard for the duration of the festival, Martha's Vineyard Comedy Festival, marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com. And we have a special night on the 13th of August, a night with Sherry Shepherd. So I'm really proud that we got Sherry out to the vineyard. And it's just, it's a great working relaxation situation because it's the vineyard. So it's very calm and chill. I just ordered a bike online to have it shipped there. So I'll leave. Nice. Yeah, I'll have a bike over there permanently because, the houses that you rent is random and they might have bikes, but they need air or the chain might be slipping.
Right.
Nope. Order my own bike. So this is going to be a great summer series for the vineyard.
So here we have Damon. Bar None Entertainment presents the first annual Laugh Festival featuring Damon Williams live for 2 shows at the Delaware Art Museum, Saturday, August 6th. And as you mentioned, they give you the information, barnonecomedylive.com for more information. Go into Delaware. And of course, that's all the folks from Philly and in that area as well.
Indeed.
So, good on you. And I don't know if we will have the bandwidth to have you on over the next several weeks, but I hope that we can try to make that happen.
We will.
Too. Okay.
Yeah, we are not up in the woods this time. We used to stay in the Friday the 13th house, but now we're this year we had like a rebellion the year before last. And said we're not coming back to this house out in the woods. So we'll be in Oak Bluffs, which is the center, the hub of Martha's Vineyard. The address is 30 Shirley. So if anybody run by, want to come by, drop off some fish plates or whatever, or come get a drink, we'd be at the 30 Shirley house. And actually, I'm going to give my wife a birthday party at the house. So we'll talk about that as it comes.
I love that. I absolutely love it. And you're going to get Sherry Shepherd before she heads off to begin her next great thing, which is her own talk show. And
absolutely. And she's moving, and I guess she hooked it up because she has a Hertz truck with her picture on the side. I was like, that's how you move.
Okay. Yeah. Had the guys out there and Sherry Shepherd's picture, and it's Sherry's show and making that move from California to New York. And so we wish her all the best there. That's great. It makes me so happy. I'm so proud of her.
Me too.
And Khameron, I know that you mentioned last week your latest projects. Do you have anything to add, or do you would like to remind people?
Yeah, 2 weeks. August 13th and the 14th, Definition Theater's Amplify Series 2 Play Festival, featuring a snippet of my play, Black Table Talk, and 7 other plays from other finalists. There's also a lot of different things coming down in the first couple weeks of August. So when those announcements are formally made, I will make them.
Okay, awesome. We'll be here to take all announcements, Khameron, and wish you well, or to break a leg, I guess. Is that break a leg as opposed to?
Yeah, sure.
The other term of wishing you luck. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to what's going on in the news. And with apologies to the old James Taylor song, we're seeing fires and we're seeing rain, and it's fire as far as California. And the California Oak Fire destroying at least 41 structures as it has burned more than 18,000 acres of Yosemite National Park. This happened on Friday. Crews made progress in an effort to rein in the fires. This was Monday night into Tuesday morning. The containment had grown to 26%, according to the state fire management, and 25 single resident structures were destroyed in the fire. Now, let me tell you, it's not just on one coast or the other. In the Dallas suburb of Balch Springs yesterday, a fire apparently sparked by a lawnmower swept about 300 yards across a tender, dry, open field to a subdivision off of I-20, and people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you're familiar with it, burning more than 20 homes. According to reports, it was horrific. And it's so dry here.
How dry is it?
It's so dry that when they were mowing the grass, the blade of the lawnmower apparently hit something like a rock or something. That created a spark.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And the spark leapt over a field into the subdivision of homes and destroying property. No one was injured, luckily, and no lives lost. But this is the latest in the drought-stricken area of North Texas. And it's been vulnerable to explosive wildfires for at least the last couple of weeks, and they expect this to go on. It was being used to trim some bushes there in the open field, and it's just a freak thing where normally, in a normal year, you would think that there would be some sort of dryness, but not to this extent when it would cause the fires, and it spread quickly. As I mentioned, this was in the middle of the afternoon on Monday, and luckily nobody destroyed there. Nobody lost their lives there, but a lot of property destruction. And then this morning in St. Louis, a historic rainfall. They had to send people out to rescue people and their pets because now the Missouri's first responders rescuing people trapped in their homes and their vehicles this morning after the record rainfall up to 11 inches. In a short period of time. And the previous record of almost 7 inches was set back in 1915. Now that's been changed. And we're looking at almost a foot of rain this morning. And a state of emergency has been declared in St. Louis County due to Tuesday's flooding, as well as warnings are in effect in Missouri and in Illinois in some parts. And so please be careful. Wind, rain, fire,
earth, wind, and fire, huh?
Okay, absolutely.
It's funny too because we play around with the yard work terminology,
right,
and there was so many metaphors like freak incidents, dryness, 7 to 11 inches. I'm like,
it was just there.
I had like 8 jokes I could have threw in there, but right. But it's tragic scenarios. So the rain actually threw my week off too because Saturday I was due in Tunica on the show for the Bronner Children's Hospital with Gary Owen, and I was on the plane. I was a 5:20 a.m. flight to make sure that if there was any type of travel delays, I would make it. They pulled me off the plane, which was going to Atlanta to get to Memphis. First of all, they pulled me off the plane, and then they put me on another plane that was going to Orlando to get to Memphis.
Oh, Lord.
But it delayed, and it stopped in Philly, and it rained in Orlando. So I left my home at 3:30 a.m., and I got to Memphis at 11 p.m.
Wow.
I missed the show. It was bananas.
That is crazy.
It
Yeah.
was
And so
plane, trains,
that's
automobiles.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. I had a situation in Dallas Fort Worth yesterday with a woman opening her weapon, whipping out her weapon and shooting into the ceiling of the Dallas Love Field, which
Right.
is the home of Southwest Airlines. And
Yes.
I had a friend who was right behind this woman, and she was so traumatized and so scared. Her husband just grabbed her up and got her out of there. You just never know what, if it's not one thing, it's another that's affecting our lives every day. It really is.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy. So, did you guys see the story of the Brooklyn minister, the pastor, who was robbed while the church service was being streamed?
Yeah.
And they
Yep.
claimed that he and his wife were robbed of more than $1 million in jewelry.
Yeah, I've heard different numbers on the jewelry amount.
Yeah.
But I also saw that little shabby ass church. So how you got $1 million worth of jewelry in a little shabby church? It's something crooked going on right there, just to begin with. But yeah, and then so my wife was like, "Don't they know all churches live stream now?" Yeah, but who's robbing churches?
well, now we know. These 3 men entered the Leaders of Tomorrow Church with firearms drawn, removed the jewelry of Pastor Lamore Miller Whitehead, who goes by Bishop Whitehead, and his wife, and what they were wearing. This was captured on video from inside the church. A portion of the live stream was obtained by news outlets before it was removed, and shows at least one perpetrator holding a gun on the pastor, interrupting his sermon. And you could hear Bishop Whitehead say, "All right, all right, all right," as he raised his hands and lowered himself to the floor.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's been many of sermons I wanted to interrupt just to get out of there.
But
once they say, and I ain't going to be long, I got to get out of here. You already know. You about to miss the first quarter. As soon as they say, "Now I ain't got much time,"
I won't tarry.
that's a long one.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna take my seat in a minute. But
Yep.
You
know what time it is, Damon.
Yeah, overtime.
Okay. I need to find out from you two as Chicagoans, what are your thoughts about the NASCAR race running in Chicago on the streets of Chicago next July?
Yeah, people already be drag racing out here as it is.
Right.
Well, my thought is at least they're gonna have to fix the streets for the race.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah, and we need to extend it to the south side. Let's do a 500-mile race across the city, because they'll pave the whole thing for that NASCAR situation.
Yeah, not just the measly 2 miles.
Indeed.
That this will have, and it's on the streets, including, and it'll pass by major landmarks, so they're going to get that cleaned up. Lakeshore Drive, Michigan Avenue, Grant Park, and the north side of Soldier Field, and the start and finish line will be in front of Buckingham Fountain, for folks who know all of these in the city of Chicago. But for 2 miles, Damon, they need to keep going.
Yeah, and I would prefer like a formula racing as opposed to NASCAR, just because of the class of people that follow each sport. We don't need the rednecks in Chicago. Let's do the formula racing and bring some Grand Prix style.
A higher class of people, as it were.
Yeah, people with all their teeth and morals.
A Lewis Hamilton as opposed to a Bubba Wallace.
How about that? and no offense to Bubba, but NASCAR, these people thought Dale was Jesus. And that number 3 sold so many Monte Carlos in the South.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. So they're hoping to bring in gazillion dollars into the city of Chicago. The little
and a few Confederate flags.
Yeah, and then there's that, Damon. I learned a lot about NASCAR. One of my first radio jobs outside of Florida was in Charlotte, the home of. And that is really a different kind of people, those NASCAR fans. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I have one more thing for you. Subway is offering free sandwiches for life for the first person who gets a foot-long tattoo on their torso during the Subway's promotional event this week. This is Wednesday in Las Vegas. a block party. The first person who receives a 12-inch by 12-inch logo of the new Subway Series promotion on their sternum or on their back will be awarded free sandwiches for life, or it's a $50,000 worth of gift cards every year. Worth it?
Wow.
And you're a Subway guy, Damon. You know the business.
Yeah, I'm an ex-Subway guy for a reason. How about I get a 6 cents tattoo, and if I get excited, it becomes a foot long. Would that qualify?
You know, and your fan club would grow tremendously too.
Absolutely.
No offense to your wife, but
Right.
we just want to know how's that tattoo looking there,
Right.
Juanita? Yeah.
$5 foot long.
and you got your Pip right there too. He's
How about it? How about it?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, guys, we're gonna talk a little bit of entertainment, as if that wasn't entertaining enough. Raising Cane's founder, you guys know Raising Cane, the
Yes.
chicken joint. The founder bought 50,000 Mega Millions tickets in hopes of sharing over the over $800 million jackpot with his employees. Todd Graves is his name. He is the founder and CEO of Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, hoping that the odds are in one, if not more than, of his employees' favor. He purchased 50,000 Mega Millions tickets, representing the company's 50,000 employees, worth $100,000, in hopes of sharing the winnings with them. He also shared it on the video on Twitter, saying buying 50,000 lottery tickets is harder than you think. And hoping to share the winning jackpot with our 50,000 Raising Cane's crew. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah. So when I saw the story, I thought that he might have given each employee a ticket.
Yeah.
But if he did that, then that money would never be shared. It'd just be somebody that did show up for work for a while. They'd be like, okay, now we know who won.
Right.
But if he bought the 50,000 and if one of them hits, then he splits it evenly. That's a great story, and I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Because those people work. That place is always busy.
It is, isn't it?
Always. It's raising cocaine chicken. Because they be alive for that. I've never ran past that place and just ran right up to the window. So I don't know what they put in Raising Cane, but the bread and the fries are delicious. The chicken is pretty average.
The bread and the fries. Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to remember that.
They got a Texas toast and a crinkle fry that's bananas.
And a really good sauce.
And a special sauce.
Yeah. That's the one thing. Chica took me there one day. We were on the road, and that's what I remember is the sauce. I don't remember the chicken so much. Yeah. What about you, Khameron? Would you take your boss up on that opportunity to get in on this $800+ million lottery?
If he was giving out like individual tickets to people, I might have to disappear a few of my coworkers, but make sure that they didn't endorse the back of them. But like an amazing opportunity. I hope it certainly happens. I mean, better someone working at Raising Cane's than some backwoods person living in Colorado who drinks hot dog water.
And we're back to hot dog water.
That's usually the people who win. It's some obscure quick trip station on Route 111. It's never like somebody right from 95th Street in Chicago that wins a big jackpot. Yeah.
Right.
Wonder how that happens.
Them, like for the newspaper, they're like, that's what they look like.
With the life-size check. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
I don't know if you all have bought yours, but I am on my way to buy mine. So I hadn't gotten to it today, but I will. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
And to you. And you all will be receiving something in the mail from my hideaway.
No return address, just a check.
Okay. and just know that it's good.
Right.
We're going to close out with our daily inspiration and Yogi's Jewels. And of course, Khameron, as we've been talking about, thanks to you bringing the attention to the National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month and all. Yolanda shares with us in the Jewel today, remember, the strongest muscle in your body is your mind. Train it to be positive. Okay, well, if you can't train it, let's win a lotto. Maybe that'll help us be a little bit more positive.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, be careful out there. Thank you so much. It was a fun day. I appreciate the conversation and I value the extension of your time. We appreciate you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Aloha.